Hello everyone, how's it going, and welcome to today's Wild Rift guide. In today's guide, we're going to be taking a look at the outlaw Graves. Graves is a skirmisher jungler that has a variety of different playstyles and build paths, which allows him to fit multiple roles in a team comp. Graves excels at farming jungle camps and dueling when he has completed his first few items, thanks to his high damage burst and tankiness from his abilities. Taking a look through the build with Graves, you want to build a mixture of both damage items and also fit in a few tanky bruiser items. So Graves can deal a lot of damage, but also because Graves has very low range, he does want to get into melee range most of the time. So you need to build a few tank items to make sure he can survive a lot of the damage coming from the enemy champions. Now for the first item, we have Bloodthirster, which gives him a good mix of a lot of damage because you have 50 attack damage and also gives you a little bit of crit rate, but also gives him sustain as well. You get a lot of physical vamp from the bloody passive, and also the blood swarm passive means that the physical vamp will be able to over shield you, so you get a little bit of a shield potentially at the start of a fight. This will help Graves a lot. As mentioned, he has very low range, so he can sometimes get caught out by a few skills. So when he's auto attacking, and because his base AD and his auto attacks deal a lot of damage, you're going to be getting more percentage physical vamp from them auto attacks and also from your abilities, which is really nice. Black Cleaver as one of our bruiser items, we get a lot of maximum health, attack damage and ability haste, which are all great base stats for Graves. The Thunder passive, dealing physical damage, allows us to reduce the armor of enemy champions, which we got our first ability and also our auto attacks. And if you could bounce the first ability off the wall, then you'll be able to proc 2 charges of the Thunder passive straight away very quickly. And also the Rage passive allows us to get the extra little bit of movement speed, and when we get kills we also get a little bit more movement speed. With Graves, you want to always be very mobile. You want to be able to use your abilities a lot, especially your third ability, to be able to dash around. And the Thunder and the Rage passive allows you to also get a little bit of movement speed every single time we're dealing physical damage. So it allows you to dodge, dip and dive in and out of team fights. For the boots, most of the time you want to go for any defensive boots, so Mercury Treads or Plated Steel Camps. Any one of these two are great, with the boots upgrade being Stasis enchant. If you want a little bit more mobility, you can also go for Protobelt, but I think most of the time Stasis enchant is your best option. Navori Quick Blades, as I just mentioned, you want to be able to dash around a lot, and this is when Navori Quick Blades comes in. You get a little bit of attack damage, crit rate and ability haste. The great part about this item though is the Death Strikes passive. Critical strikes reduce your non-ultimate ability cooldowns by 20% of their remaining cooldown. We already got a little bit of crit chance from Bloodthirster, and we're going to get more crit chance from Navori Quick Blades. This is 2 items that are going to give us 50% crit rate, so when we do crit, we can use our abilities more often, whether that be our first ability to deal more damage, whether that be the second ability to reduce the sight range of enemy champions, or whether that be the third ability. Third ability is really important because you're able to just dash in, you're able to get that extra armor stacks, and also being able to dodge abilities and being able to reload a bullet in your weapon, which I think is very important. So the Navori Quick Blade is one of the core items. Sterix Gauge, this item gives you a lot of maximum health. This is one of your defensive tank items, but also the heavy-handed passive means that we are going to be getting bonus attack damage based on our base AD, which is quite high for Graves. He has quite a high base AD, so we're going to be getting bonus AD from the item, but also we're going to be getting a lot of maximum health. And a lifeline passive allows us to get a shield when we drop below 35% health. Again, it's just if we get bursted a little bit, that Sterix Gauge shield will help us defend off a little bit of the burst damage. And then for your final item, Infinity Edge, this will give you a lot of damage in the later stages of the game. It allows you to increase your critical strikes chances and critical strike damage by 30%, so it goes up from 200% to 230%. Again, another item that gives you a lot of attack damage and crit rate. You do have a few other items you can go for here as well. Mortal Reminder, if you need a little bit of grievous wounds or anti-heal, you can go for Mortal Reminder, or Ghostblade can be really good as a first item. It's a really big power spike that gives you a lot of attack damage in the early game, but I prefer to go for as much crit damage items as possible, and also adding in a few bruiser items like Black Cleaver and Sterix Gauge. For the runes, Conqueror is a great rune for Graves because you're able to get the stacks of Conqueror very, very quickly, especially if you can utilize your first ability well, because your first ability will work as 2 stacks towards Conqueror. Then all you need to do is auto attack a few times and then you'll get the fully stacked Conqueror, which means we're getting bonus AD. And also when it's fully stacked, we're going to get Omnivamp, which, as I mentioned already, Omnivamp and Physical Vamp is very, very important for Graves. You can switch this out for Phase Rush. Phase Rush is also pretty good if you do want the reduced cooldown, and if you also do want the extra little bit of movement speed. If you feel like that you need that little bit of extra movement, say for example you're against a lot of champions that have a lot of crowd control abilities that you need to dodge, Phase Rush can be very, very good. Again, off the same factor of Physical Vamp, you gain Physical Vamp in the early game. This helps you farm through the jungle a little bit easier, because you'll be able to get the Physical Vamp. And also every single time we get a takedown, which is mostly what's going to happen as a jungler, we're going to be getting base extra AD and also extra Physical Vamp. Bone Plating, really, really good. Allows us to block any combo damage that comes towards us. If we're against any assassins or anyone, if they jump on top of us, Bone Plating is going to allow us to take reduced damage from them champions. And then Nimbus Coat, giving us the extra movement speed when we use our smite on an enemy champion, or when we use our flash to try and get away to safety, or when we're trying to dash on top of champions to try and kill them. And with our summoner spells, obviously we have smite because we are going to be playing Graves in the jungle, and then we have flash to try and escape or try and jump into enemy champions so we can get into melee range enough to try and kill them off. But that's everything with the build. Let's head on to the abilities. First up, we have Graves' passive, which is a new destiny. Now, this passive explains how Graves' auto attacks work, because you'll soon become to realize that Graves' auto attacks and how Graves works is a little bit different to other champions. So Graves has a shotgun that has some unique properties. The first unique property is double barrel. So Graves must reload when he runs out of ammo, and he only has 2 bullets in his shotgun, or 2 gorges in his shotgun. Attack speed that you build reduces the reload time slightly. However, it does reduce the time between attacks dramatically. So you don't actually want to prioritize building attack speed that much on Graves, because yes, it reduces the reload time, but it reduces the amount of time between attacks quite dramatically. So as you can see with this one, as you can see, the little bullets underneath the mana bar indicates how many bullets you have. So if you auto attack twice, you can see here that I have to reload, and then both of my bullets come back, and it'll be the same thing. The same as if you auto attack once as well. After a time when you auto attack once, you realize that Graves just reloads the second one straight away. If you run out of bullets straight away, then the reload happens straight away. 12 Gorge, which attacks fires 4 bullets, and units hit take 100% physical damage plus a percentage for additional bullets. So the more bullets you hit, the more damage you're going to be dealing with Graves. And Critical Strikes fires 6 bullets instead of 4, and increase each bullet's damage by 40%, and structures only take 75% of the damage. So when you're auto attacking with Graves, you'll see that you have 4 bullets that come apart. Again, as it mentions, if you do critically strike, then you do shoot 6 bullets. Now, the important thing to note is that if you're not in close enough range with Graves, then these auto attacks can miss, and some of the bullets can miss. You can see at maximum range, I don't actually hit all 4 of my bullets. I'm only hitting a few of my bullets. But if I stand close enough, then every single bullet is always going to hit. Now, the cool thing, the way this works with Black Cleaver, is this can fully stack Black Cleaver with just 1 auto attack. Now, with Black Cleaver, you reduce the armor of enemy champions, and this can stack up to 6 times. Graves, when he critically strikes, fires 6 bullets. So if I get lucky here, I have 75% crit chance. If I auto attack once, there we go. You see that little icon next to champion? That means that the Black Cleaver has fully stacked straight away. That means you can reduce the armor of enemy champions by 24% with just 1 auto attack with Graves. That's a cool little interaction there if you didn't know how it worked. And the last thing with the passive is a buckshot. So bullets cannot pass through enemy units, and non-champions struck by bullets or multiple bullets are knocked back slightly. So you can see here, the way that this basically explains itself is that when you normally auto attack with a ranged champion like Caitlyn, Twitch, or anyone like that, it doesn't matter what champion you target, you will always focus that champion. Now, Graves works a little bit different because minions, towers, everything else, monsters can all block Graves' bullets. So I'll explain it to you how this works. So you see I'm currently targeting the target dummy behind the one in front. If I try and auto attack that target dummy, I can't get through the target dummy in front of me. I'm actually doing no damage to the target dummy behind. And as I mentioned, this works the exact same way as tower. So if I go underneath the tower here, and if I was to put a target dummy behind this tower, and say for example I'm trying to auto attack this target dummy, you can see if I try and auto attack this target dummy, I can't focus this target dummy at all because it's always going to focus the tower in front. So it's really important with Graves to be in the right position at the right time and to make sure that you're focusing the right targets, because you're always pretty much going to play front to back. So you're going to be attacking the front units first or the front champions first, unless you can dash or flash within melee range of some of the backline champions and try and burst them down before someone else blocks the attacks. Now, onto the first ability, we have End of the Line. So Graves fires a powder round that deals physical damage and then detonates after 1 second to deal additional physical damage. And to detonate in 0.25 seconds if the ground hits terrain. So that means that if you hit terrain, so like a wall or anything like that, that means that the first ability is going to come back towards you straight away. So to explain the ability first, as you can see, this works as like a T shape. So it works out as like you fire bullets up and after 1 second it comes back towards you. Most important thing is that the damage coming back towards you is always going to be more than the damage going away. So it's important to actually kind of predict the movement of enemy champions. And as it mentions, if you hit the first ability off a terrain, then it will come back straight away. As you can see, the first ability is a lot quicker when you hit terrain. So when using your first ability, it's always very, very important to make sure that you bounce your first ability off terrain where possible. Say for example, you're auto attacking here, just bounce it off this terrain, auto attacking off here, bounce off this terrain. It's just so important because you're going to deal so much burst damage, and this will count as 2 stacks towards your Conqueror as well. Smokescreen, Graves' second ability, is probably one of the most annoying abilities in the game. Graves throws a canister that creates a cloud of smoke for a few seconds, and enemy within the smoke cannot see outside of it. So it actually reduces the sight range of any enemy champion that walks through the smoke. Enemies caught in the smoke in the initial impact take a little bit of magic damage and are slowed by 50% as well. So you could use this to catch up on enemy champions or to slow them, but the main focus of this ability is reducing the sight of enemy champions. So when you use your third ability, you can see it deals a little bit of damage, but you see that little eye icon with the crossover, that means that they have reduced sight. That means that, for example, if the target dummy was here, say this champion was Caitlyn, if I use my second ability on this Caitlyn and she doesn't move, she cannot auto attack me, but I can still auto attack her because I'm outside of the smoke screen. But with Graves, with a smoke screen, it means that they cannot see outside of that smoke screen, so they can't see and auto attack me, but I can auto attack them. This is such an annoying ability against any ranged champions or any auto attack champions in general, because it means you can't see anything, so you can't see anything what's happening in the team fight. So it might not always be the best ideas to smoke screen the frontline unit just to slow them. It might be important to manually aim this ability and maybe look to focus the backline champions, like say this back dummy here, because maybe this champion is a ranged champion like a Twitch, and that means that they're going to have reduced sight. That means they cannot use their auto attacks at all. For the third ability, we have Quick Draw. Now, Quick Draw is a very, very cool ability that has multiple different cool effects. So first, Graves, when you use this ability, he dashes in a direct direction, and he also reloads 1 shell and granting True Grit for a few seconds. Now, True Grit means that you're going to be gaining armor, and this stacks up to 8 times, and it refreshes when damaging non-minions. So when you're auto attacking enemy champions, it's going to keep refreshing True Grit. Now, dashing towards an enemy champion grants 2 stacks of True Grit, and each bullet hit reduces Quick Draw's cooldown by 0.5 seconds. The important part there is when you dash towards enemy champions, you're going to get 2 stacks instead of 1 stack. This means most of the time you actually want to dash closer to an enemy champion rather than away. But this also benefits Graves a lot, as mentioned, because Graves doesn't have a lot of you know, attack range in general, and also because Graves' bullets can miss, you always want to get as close to enemy champion as possible. So you dash forward with true grit, the enemy champion is going to think, why are you dashing towards me? And then they're going to realize that they can't actually kill you because you're getting that true grit armor stack every single time. Now, as I mentioned, it means that Graves can dash in any directions. You can dash over walls, you can dash in pretty much any direction that you want to. And also another cool thing is that it reloads one shell. So a really cool thing that you could do with Graves is auto attack, third ability, auto attack, and this actually means you can fire 3 bullets before reloading instead of 2. Some people, what they do is they auto attack twice, wait for halfway in the reload animation, then use their second ability, and it basically wastes the opportunity and the potential of this ability. So when you're farming through the jungle, you can just auto attack twice, dash, and then use your auto attack. This works kind of like an auto attack cancel. Auto attack, third ability, auto attack, auto attack. Again, as you can see, we get 3 quick auto attacks before reloading, and because our third ability is going to get reduced cooldown every single time we auto attack, and also in the later stages in the game, we're going to get Navori. We've got auto attack, third ability, auto attack, and look, I can third ability again. I can dash again. So it's so important to make sure that you're dashing and you're using this ability well, because you'll be able to dash multiple times in a team fight, and if you crit, that means that you're going to be reducing the cooldown of this ability even more. So just make sure with your third ability that you're dashing towards an enemy champion. You don't waste it as well, so you don't use your third ability like this and you don't waste the cooldown. You need to make sure you use this ability when you have a space free in your shotgun, so it means it just does like a little bit of a quick reload. And last but by no means least, we have Graves' ultimate, which is collateral damage. It fires an explosive shell that deals physical damage and knocks Graves back from recoil. So it's just a huge, massive explosion shell that just knocks Graves back. The shell explodes upon hit on an enemy champion or reaching the end of its range, dealing physical damage in a cone afterwards. And enemies damaged by the shell's initial impact do not take damage from the explosion. So as you can see, this ability has a lot of range. You can see the maximum length of the ability there. So once it reaches the maximum length, you can see it just spreads across. But as you can see, the spread sometimes doesn't hit all the champions. You need to make sure that you do hit the ability with the spread shot. This kind of works as like a snipe shot in a way. So when you're at range, you can just quickly use your ultimate. So you can like auto attack a few times, use your third ability auto attack, and then use your ultimate. The cool thing about your ultimate is it will knock you back. So it kind of works as like an escape mechanic at the same time. As you can see, you can go over walls with your ultimate. So say for example, you're stuck here against the enemy champion, you can auto attack a few times, you can use your ultimate and then use your third ability and then your flash, and you can see how much bigger of a distance you can get. But you can also use this the other way. Say for example, you want to go towards an enemy champion, you can just do this and just do a little bit of burst damage. Say the enemy champion is really, really low, but most of the time you want to use this for the damage, because the damage output of your ultimate is very, very high. So you could use this at range as well. Say for example, there's a target dummy right underneath that tower. I use the ultimate, boom, I do a little bit of damage. As you can see, 360 damage. So not that bad for an ultimate that you can hit from very, very far away. Moving on to the combos, I kind of explained a little bit with the combos of how each individual ability works, but how can you combo all of your abilities together? Now, at the start of this combo, you want to use your second ability. This will work as a slow. And what you can do is when your first ability is charging up for that second, that means you can auto attack in between to do a huge amount of burst damage. So you can use our second ability, our first ability into auto attack, E, auto attack. And that's a quick little bit of burst damage that can deal a total of 2000 damage. So I'll show you again. So you do second ability into first ability into auto attack, E, auto attack, and then you auto attack again, and then you can even combo your ultimate on top of this as well. So you do second ability, first ability, auto attack, E, auto attack, ultimate. And as you can see, we do 3400 burst damage with just that one swift combo, and that uses all of our abilities together to give us the highest amount of burst damage. But you always use this same combo. You could do loads of different combos though. You can combo your first ability with your auto attacks instead and not use your second ability at at all. You can use your second ability and then auto attack a few times if they're still within smoke screen, and then use your first ability to deal damage right at the end. So there's many different ways that you can use combo. It's just adapting to the right situation and realizing when's the important pass to dash towards an enemy champion or dash away from an enemy champion if they're getting within a certain amount of range of you and maybe potentially looking to one-shot you. Now, taking a look at the leveling order with Graves, as your first ability, you can go for two options. You can either go for your first ability. Now, this will be really, really helpful if you start at Raptors or if you start at Walls, because your first ability will be able to do a lot of AoE damage. But you can also go and start with your third ability. This will give you that extra bullet at the start of the game and helps you clear through the jungle that little bit safer, because with what you can do with your auto attacks is you can knock back minions and monsters. So if you're auto attacking more often, it means that you're not going to be taking a lot of damage at all. Then you can go for your second ability. This will give you two of the strongest damage options for Graves, and then going for your third ability. So this has all your abilities up and available, so you can try and clear through the jungle as fast as possible. Now, Graves is one of the fastest clearing junglers in the game, so it's very, very important to make sure that you go for the right leveling order and adapt to where you're starting in the jungle camp. Then you want to go and max your first ability, because this is going to be dealing the most amount of damage for us instead of our auto attacks. So when we don't have our auto attacks up, our first ability is going to be dealing more damage. Then we go for our third ability to reduce the cooldown of our third ability, make sure that we can use it more often and be more mobile when we get into team fights. And then we max our second ability, obviously making sure that we max our ultimate when it is available. So that's everything with the in-depth look at Graves. I'm going to show you all a gameplay now and give you all some tips and tricks when playing Graves. So I'll see you all in just a second. All right, onto the gameplay we go with Graves. I've got a lot of tips and tricks to talk about during this gameplay, including jungle pathing, how best to utilize, Graves being able to knock back monsters in the jungle as well, but also a few things that you maybe don't know about, things like making sure that you position right when you clear jungle camps, because with Graves and because of his shotgun, for example, the raptors, the little raptors can actually block damage from the big raptors, things like Krugs as well, and everything like that. Now, I do start my third ability here because I like to just make sure I get that extra bullet. But to be honest, maybe the first ability maybe does more damage than going for your third ability first. But obviously, every single time you auto attack, it's going to reduce the cooldown. So I'm still not too sure what ability is best to go first. Maybe the first ability, maybe the third ability. But you can see with Graves, you can kite around the red buff and not take a single point of damage. So you just use the knockback from your shotgun from your auto attacks. You use the knockback and you use your auto attacks to your advantage to not take any damage through the jungle. Now, obviously, as I'm clearing through the jungle as well, you can see that I'm always prioritizing using my first ability off a wall so I can clear the jungle a lot quicker. But this is one thing here. What you want to do with this big raptor is you actually want to push this big raptor against the wall and make sure you just auto attack this big raptor. The reason why is because if you have the little raptors in front of it, you're not going to deal the most damage to that big raptor. So you can just auto attack the big raptor a few times, smite the big raptor, and then focus the small raptors straight after. So you can see there that there might be ways of Graves not having the best jungle clear if you don't understand how to best utilize his shotgun. You can see here, I'm just using my first ability off the wall to make sure that I can take the scuttle crab quicker. Not using my third ability to get the reset here, just going to auto attack the scuttle crab a few times and get the scuttle crab there. Katarina is going to walk up here, probably get, yeah, Katarina is going to get a little bit caught out here. I'm going to use my first ability. My first ability was a little bit misplaced. I'm not too sure how my first ability went in that direction, but I tried to, as you can see, when I was aiming my first ability, I tried to use it up against the wall so it would deal the quick burst damage to Katarina. Seems like the first ability went in an opposite way instead. Well, not the complete opposite way, but went in a different way instead. But still, we was able to get the trade kill. Zed was able to survive as well, so we do get a 1-for-1 trade. We go back to base and start getting our components for Ghostblade. I did go for Ghostblade this game. This is another build option that you can go with Graves that has a lot more early game power. Again, you can see what I'm doing here is every single time my shotgun has to reload, I'm using my third ability to make sure that I'm able to get an extra bullet and deal more damage and clear through the jungle quicker. We might have a little bit of a top lane fight here. We're walking up maybe towards the Ezreal. Again, every single time that you gank, you want to make sure you use your your second ability first to try and slow them down, but also to reduce their sight. But I thought there wasn't really any ganking opportunities. As soon as I left, I'm like, oh, Pike's going in, Pike's not going in. I'm like, what am I doing here? You can see the Caitlyn just dodges away from that. Yeah, I kind of wasted a lot of time here. Kind of my bad, to be honest with you. I should have realized that it was basically never going to be a gank worthy opportunity. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clear my Krug and then clear through mid lane. Clear through mid lane because Zed wasn't probably going to pick up the minions. And to be honest, Zed was never going to pick up the cannon minion because he was just going back again. So yeah, you can see here kind of how the little minions work. You can see that it's really, really difficult for me to sometimes auto attack this big raptor because it's getting blocked by the small minions. You can see it happening a few times there. Again, red buff, I'm knocking it back. I'm using my third ability again. You can see this is pretty much what you want to do with Graves. Graves doesn't really have a lot of ganking potential. Graves is all about farming through the jungle. He's one of the fastest clearing junglers in the game because of the way his shotgun works, his weapon works, and also the way his abilities work. So you just want to make sure you farm through the jungle and then try and go for the duels and skirmishes when you get to later stages of the game, which will be at obviously the objectives. You see, we cleared through the whole of the jungle. We was able to get our Ghost Blade, and now we're going to go towards Bloodthirster. Again, it's kind of up to you what sort of build you want to go for. Ghost Blade again is a lot more burst heavy build, but you don't have the sustain of Bloodthirster as your first item, but it's a very cheap item. It allows you to clear the jungle a lot quicker, as you can see here. I'm clearing the jungle very, very quickly. Obviously, you don't have the crit with Ghost Blade either, so it's a little bit difficult to get the extra bullets off. You see here, I'm just waiting at the moment outside of the range of vision of the enemy team. Amumu misses the bandage toss, does hit the second bandage toss, but a really good Nami wave and also a really, really nice bubble means that we're able to get a few more kills. You can see that I'm just dodging around Pike. I'm dodging around all these auto attacks, and oh boy, I'm dodging around all these abilities as well. We get to kill off the Amumu because we got red buff, and because we killed the Amumu, we're able to go towards the dragon after a while. Woo! That's beautiful. That's such a beautiful feeling when you use your first ability and it bounces back towards you and it gets a double kill like that. It's so beautiful. So you can see here, we're going to try and clear this dragon, but this is going to be a little bit difficult because the Katarina is here. We do need the Zed to help us. But for some reason, the Zed was not roaming to try and help us at all. So I'm going to try and smite this, and I do smite it. I am going to unfortunately die for it, but I think it's a worthy death. We got the Drake, but to be honest, Zed was pushing mid lane, and then as soon as Zed pushed mid lane, he was like standing there doing absolutely nothing, basically. It was like, instead of Zed roaming and trying to help us, he just stood mid lane. Like, he already pushing the wave. There was no more minions left to take, so he just sits mid lane instead, which is a little bit unfortunate. Maybe we should have realized that Zed wasn't there, or maybe we shouldn't have gone for it. But yeah, Z03 at the moment not having the greatest of games, but that's fine because we're still in a really good carry position. We still have a lot of gold. We still have our we're still 4, 2 and 1 at the moment. I'm going to try and clear this Rift Herald. Now the problem is that Amumu might also be here. I use my sweeper to see if there's any vision around, or if the enemy team knows that I'm doing this Rift Herald, which it doesn't look like they do. So I'm able to bounce off my first ability off the wall and easily take this Rift Herald. Again, making sure when you're clearing through the whole jungle that you always bounce your first ability off of the nearest wall, whether it be the Scuttle Crab, whether it be the red buff, the blue buff, anything like that. You always want to make sure that you're using the walls to your advantage. We clear through mid lane because Zed for some reason is bot lane, so we're just like, cool, I'm just going to clear through mid lane, just do what I need to do. Katarina just push up a little bit. You can see how much burst damage I do as well. I'm going to use the Rift Herald mid. This isn't going to take the first tower, unfortunately. And also because we took Rift Herald too late, it means that we're not going to get the tower platings gold. But Dr. Mundo did get the first tower bot lane. So maybe Zed helped Dr. Mundo get the first tower in bot lane. You can see here, we're just going to carry on farming through the jungle. We got the whole of the bot side to clear. We got a whole of the top side to clear as well. So this is exactly what we're going to do. We're just going to keep auto attacking through the jungle. And again, you can see how quickly you can clear through this jungle. I decided to go back to base here because I do have my Bloodthirster finished. I think Bloodthirster is a very, very core item that gives us a lot of AD. We got our boots as well, so we can go around the jungle a lot more often. And then we're going to go towards Black Cleaver. Again, Black Cleaver has a really, really cool synergy with Graves because if you do land a auto attack, it does shoot 4 bullets, and each bullet counts as a stack towards the Black Cleaver passive. So when you crit and when it goes up to 6 stacks, you even have a chance to fully stack Black Cleaver with just 1 swift auto attack. You can see here that I'm going to try and kill this Katarina. It's going to be a little bit difficult. I'm going to use my flash to get away from the Jax. Unfortunately, Jax does have flash as well. I'm trying my best to make sure that I tried my best to get the healing, but unfortunately the healing was not enough in the end. I think I got hit by some sort of anti-heal, but I'm not really too sure what it was. I don't know what it was. It seemed like I had anti-heal for some reason, but I'm not really too sure where I got the anti-heal from. That's okay. We traded 1 for 1 in the end in bot lane. I mean, overall, it's not a good trade because the problem is another death there, unfortunately. The problem is that the Zed and the Dr. Mundo dies, so it's very, very difficult. But you can see that my whole team is struggling at the moment. We're 7 and 14, but I am still doing really, really well on Graves. 5, 3 and 1 at the moment. So I'm not giving up just yet. Never give up hope. Take away the blue buff. We did get the first dragon as well, so we can maybe play towards that 3-dragon win condition. I'm not too sure what I am doing here. This is really, really bad misplay from me. Yeah, I mean, I should never be walking up to auto attack that Amumu there. That was a really, really bad misplay from myself. That should have never happened. Oh, nice snipe though by the Caitlyn. He's gonna get hooked going. Yeah, this is gonna be pretty bad. But yeah, 1-5 mid, 1-4 ADC, and 0-3 top. And as you see, I have 2,000 more gold than pretty much everyone on my team right now. So in a very, very difficult spot right now to try and come back. I'm not too sure why I didn't buy the longsword here. Maybe I just want my boots upgrades. Not too sure why I did that. We're going to try and kill the Jax here. Great thing is that the Jax have dashed back into us, so we're able to use the auto attacks and then use our ulti to kill the Jax, which is not too bad. So we get another kill for ourselves, and we just go back to clearing through the jungle. You can see how much healing you get as well from the physical vamp, because it's not only your auto attacks, but it's also your first ability that has a lot of base AD. We use our second ability and predict the dash away from the Ezreal, but unfortunately that is not going to be enough for now. But Herald is coming up in 5 seconds. Also, the dragon's coming up, so I'm pinging my team to go towards the dragon because we already got the first Drake. I feel like if we get 2 Drakes, then it can be very, very good for us because we can start stacking the dragons. Maybe look for 3 dragons. But again, look at my healing that I get. Look at the shield that I get as well with my Bloodthirster passive. I can just auto attack this dragon and not take any damage at all. I do have to be very, very careful here because I do have Pyke one side and Amumu the other. I'm going to quickly burst this down. Unfortunately, it does get stolen. It does look like we are going to try and clean up this fight. We dodge away from the Pyke hook. We try and flash forward here, but unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to be enough for now. Jax is on the back line, trying to do as much as possible. Katarina might try and jump in here. Oh, we're going to try and... Okay, we use our Q and our ulti to escape away. Dodge away from the Pyke hook as well. Cheeky little double kill, which is really nice. We use the ulti to dash away from the Pyke ultimate, which is really, really nice for us. Means that we kept ourselves alive, and that means we can go towards the Rift Herald as well. Try and take the second Rift Herald. I think the problem there was that I dashed away from the dragon. I maybe didn't need to dash away from the dragon. I maybe could have just stayed near the dragon and tried to smite it away, but then the problem was I was probably going to die because then I was probably going to get a Amumu ulti and a Amumu one shot. So we didn't take the dragon, but we did take the kills in the end, which means we get more gold for ourselves. I should probably be going back here, to be honest with you, and spending my money. I'm not too sure why I'm not spending my money here. But only I know at this point. Only I know. I do see the Amumu in there, so I'm just going to use the smoke stream just to kind of catch them out a little bit. They are going for this dragon. So for some reason, dash over this wall. I have no idea why. I think I'm able to actually burst out this Amumu because, yeah, I'm able to burst the Amumu. I dash back over the wall, and then unfortunately I just auto attack my way back. I stole the Rift Herald, my second ability, which is quite nice. So the AP damage from our second ability was enough to steal the Rift Herald, which was kind of funny actually. I actually don't know how I stole the Rift Herald there, just by auto attacking using my second ability. But look how much gold I have. I have 4,700 gold. I have so much gold in the bank now. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now we can get more tankiness. We can go for Steric's Gauge because I feel like I already have enough damage. So all I really need is just a bit more tankiness, which I'm going to get from Steric's Gauge. But the cool thing about Steric's Gauge is that you also get AD at the same time. So you get AD, and also you get you get bonus AD because of the base attack damage that you get. Jax is in well, I say Jax is in a bit of trouble. It's more like the Zen is in a little bit of trouble here on my team. Unfortunately, it does die. I'm trying to do a little bit of damage here. Redemption's coming down as well for the extra little bit of healing. I'm trying to do enough poke damage here, but as you can see, it's just not enough to push them away from the tower just yet. Pike does get a hook. We do get a kill somehow onto... I actually don't know how I killed Ezreal there. Did I kill my first ability? I actually don't know how I killed Ezreal there. So even though we're behind in kills, and even though the team this game has not had the best of performance, Graves is a very good carry jungler. As you can see, he can carry jungle games very, very easily. He has a lot of damage. He has a lot of sustain. And he could do a lot. I would say he's probably one of the best carry junglers with like Kha'Zix and other assassins. Oh, so close to killing the Katarina there. I actually thought I killed the Katarina. I thought I did enough damage. Look at the jungle clear speed now. I can just auto attack once, use my first ability, and the jungle camp's basically gone. Like, it's completely gone. The only bad thing about going Ghostblade first item is that you can't go for more crit chance, really. You can see I'm going for Steric's Gauge because I just want more tankiness. Now I'm going for Navori Quick Blades. I would normally go Navori Quick Blades before Steric's Gauge and normally go like Steric's Gauge last item. But it is a little bit difficult because we do want to get a little bit of extra tankiness. But again, you also get bonus AD from Steric's Gauge, so it's not the worst thing in the world. It could be a lot worse of an item. Ghostblade does fall off a little bit as well, so I think the crit build is a lot to do with getting more damage for Graves in the later stages of the game, whereas Ghostblade is a lot more of a one item power spike. Like, you get a huge power spike at one item with Ghostblade, and then it kind of falls off over time. As the game goes on, Ghostblade falls off. But Graves doesn't really fall off, to be fair. I think Graves is a pretty good scaling champion. I think the more damage he does, the better, really. Nice Nami wave and nice bubble as well. Actually completely stops the Amumu in his path. Really, really well played actually from the Nami. I actually think Nami kind of carried this game. I think it was tapped on as well on Nami. Really, really nice wave to actually stop the Amumu engage and then bubbled him afterwards. It was a really, really nice engage. Really nice counter engage, I should say, from the Nami. We're going to back off for now. Baron is up. Dragon is coming up in 5 seconds. I'm just going to take away this blue buff. Quickly take this away. I can use my smite as well because I have 2 smites, which means my second smite is up in 10 seconds. Go towards this dragon. Try and take this dragon. Didn't get started just yet, but again, we have so much AD. We can clear through this so quickly with Caitlyn as well. You know, auto attack, third ability, auto attack. We take it away. Unfortunately, I do get a little bit caught out here. I don't, honestly, I have no idea how I just survived all of that. I missed my third ability over the wall, my dash over the wall. I then also missed my ultimate, which I was trying to dash over the wall to survive. And somehow the healing from Nami, the Steric's Gauge heal, and also the healing from my Bloodthirster was enough to survive that. Honestly, I have no idea how I survived that at all, but hey, sometimes we have to get a little bit lucky. Sometimes we have to get a little bit lucky. Navori Quick Blade's finished now. Navori Quick Blade is really good for Graves because you already get a reduced attack speed with your third ability when auto attacking. And now every single time I crit, I'm also going to get reduced cooldown with my third ability. So it is really, really nice. But honestly, Graves at this point in the game can just solo Baron. Like, it's so easy for Graves to just solo Baron. You can see here, like, I do so much damage to this Baron. I'm just healing up so much as well from Bloodthirster. It's really, really nice. Dashing side to side, just taking Baron with the help of Nami, doing a little bit of damage and also healing us up, making sure we're staying healthy enough. And there we go. Baron easily secured. The rest of their team is all on the top side of the map. Unfortunately, unfortunately, Nami does die for the Baron, but it's worth it in the end. It is all worth it in the end. I basically one-shot the Katarina in the end as well. My first ability plus my auto attacks was able to basically one-shot the Katarina, which was very, very nice. Got the kill of our third ability in the end there as well. Nearly got enough damage to kill Ezreal. Wasn't enough in the end, but a very, very good carry performance by myself on the Graves. I think it was a great performance considering how bad our early game was. I think there was a lot of great plays from Nami and also myself. I think it was a very, very good game. We did also make some cheeky outplays as well. You can see my damage here as well. Look at that, 15, 4, and 5 in the end. Great result. I'm not sure if I can show my damage here. Look at that, 33,000 damage. I think Tapi might have done more support or more damage than my Zed mid, and also nearly more damage than my Caitlyn. You can see 20k gold. Just an absolutely amazing performance from ourselves. So really, really good performance. Shows the power of Graves really, and shows how strong Graves can be if you put it on the right hands, and also if you understand the way that Graves works. So hopefully you enjoyed this in-depth look at Graves, and I'll see you all in the next Wild video. Peace.